We're all back. We're all back. It's been so long, but we're all back on the Sharp Sports Report. Alec is finally here with us.
Back, boys.
Oh my gosh, we have so much to talk about. So much NBA, MLB, NFL, because Alec wasn't here for our Kel Miper Mike mock draft. But I mean, we got to start out with probably the craziest thing that's happened over the past week. Is the Sixers coming back from down 2-0 to tie it 2-2 with James Harden dropping 31 points, 16 in the fourth quarter. There was a 31, 7, and 8. Oh my dear Lord Jesus. I don't want to say he's back, but he's back.
It's a load of horse shit if you ask me. He's not back. It's a one-game fluke.
He's an ex-MVP. Ex-MVPs don't have one-game flukes. Ex-MVPs don't have one-game flukes.
Heat and 6.
And that's why no one takes any of your NBA takes seriously.
I mean, Jimmy Butler goes 13 to 20, puts up 40 points.
And he still loses.
If you have Kyle Lowry not having just 6 points, they win that game.
But he did.
That's fine. That was one game.
They also shut down Tyler Hero.
I mean, yeah, he had 11 points. He shot 1 of 5 from deep. Oladipo is having a resurgence in the playoffs for Miami. He's been
15
pretty
points is in a
consistent for them.
resurgence. It's not a resurgence.
Okay. Anyways, like I said, Lowry was always
being a role player.
Deep. It's not going to happen again. You're back in Miami.
It's happened.
Watch
3
Miami
times
win
already
by
this
like
series.
20 plus.
His average is like 4 points per game this series.
They're going back down to South Beach.
Who gives a shit? James Harden just dropped 31 goddamn points.
Yeah, and the first time in what? Like the whole time he's been with the 76ers?
Yeah. It's just we got him in March and he played like a total of 12 games with us before the playoffs. You think he's just gonna come in and be flawless? No, and it's not even just him. He's on the court. You know what else happens? Danny Green starts going off because he's wide open because you either focus on Joel or you focus on James Harden. Danny Green goes 6 for 7 or 7 for 8, whatever the hell he was from 3 that one night. Tobias Harris is deadly from mid-range this series. Even when we were losing, he was deadly. Joel's back. The phantom of the process is here. Dropping. He doesn't even have 30 points. 23 and 11 is still fantastic for a guy who's dealing with a thumb ligament tear and an eye contusion.
I rest my case. Heat and 6.
Not when George Niang's putting up 10 points too, baby. Let's go.
I love George. I love George. Can we talk about Tyrese Maxey, please?
Go right
that
ahead.
Dude is a freaking hoss. That guy is fast as hell. His little his transition threes are deadly. He's got the fades into it every time, and it's so nice. You know when it's going in. Oh my God. And the way he finishes his contact layups, he doesn't miss contact layups.
Did he finish with 20 points too?
Yeah.
He had been close. He had been really close.
Game 3, he had like 16 or 17 points in the fourth quarter himself. Like, anyone on that team, including Tobias Harris, can step up at any given moment. There's 4 guys who can put the ball on the court and take you one-on-one and score.
I mean, their starting 5 all had 10 plus points. Harden 31, Maxey 18, Embiid 24, Green 11, Harris 13. The only person you're getting double digits from off the bench is George Niang. And the reason why I said the next game in Miami, it's just not going to happen again where you're going to see this pour of shooting from Lowry or Max Strus.
Because of you're underestimating the Sixers' defense. Even James Harden's at least getting back on transition to play defense. Tyrese Maxey's playing is a great on-ball defender. Matisse Thybulle off the bench. Danny Green is a known 3-and-D guy. And you see Joel Embiid on Victor Oladipo? Clamped his ass up. A 7-foot center clamped a guard's ass up.
Kellen, why do you have to go and say, did you see James Harden playing defense? Because I just didn't listen to anything after that. Come on.
Well, he did. No, but you got to – I distinctly remember a play. Tyrese loses the ball, and James is the only one on the team who got back on defense.
Did he get back, or did he just so happen to just
No, he
already
legit
bad.
hustled back.
wasn't
He
running.
was in transition with Jimmy Butler, stopped Jimmy, and then no one else was helping him. So Jimmy dumped it off to a guy for an open layup.
Okay, if he made his one defensive play in his career, I missed it. I am
The
sorry.
one thing I'm saying, Kellen, I'm not saying like you have a point. Like he came back, everyone played super well. James Harden had 6 turnovers. That was half of Miami's turnovers total for the game. And like I said, Lowry is not just going to put up 6 points. It's just not going to happen. Hero's
He's
not
done
just going
that
to have
the
11.
entire series.
Doesn't matter. Max
In
Strus
game
come
3, he
back.
didn't score
You're
a
back in
single
South
point.
Beach. Back in South Beach tomorrow.
You
He
can't be
will go
saying
off. He's too good not to go off one game, though, Kellen. I'm cheering for the Sixers, but it's like he's good.
he's good. I'm just saying he hasn't shown me this series coming off the injury that he just had with his leg that he can constantly be a scoring threat in this series.
Let's hope he stays that way. Because if they're getting 30 plus points from Jimmy Butler and then Lowry does even half of what he's able to do, then Sixers are in trouble. But as said, Sixers are doing what they're doing. George is coming off the bench getting you 10 points. Look out, Miami.
So I'm saying, well, and I mean, like I said, there's 4 guys who can take you off the dribble and be absolutely deadly. Toby's little spot up 3-pointer off like a little side dribble, he hits that at a solid clip. Tyrese, that his first step is just nasty. There's no shot you stopping that without fouling him. And then, I mean, Joel, him either backing down someone because the Heat are undersized, or if he wants to face up Adebayo and just take him off the dribble, he can do that too. He did that multiple times last night. There's just so many versatile ways for the Sixers to score, and their defense is so consistently solid. I think they take this series in 7.
I hope so. I'm just rooting for 7-game series across the board at this point. I mean, they've been really good. Do we think that the team out of the East is one of these 2 teams? Because that's the feeling I'm getting. I have very strong feelings throughout the playoffs every year, even in college basketball. Like once the tournament starts, you're kind of like, ooh, this series seems to be a series playing like that. I know Milwaukee, people love Milwaukee. Brandon, is that who you're thinking?
I'll get to my point once you're done.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just gonna say I think it's one of these 2 teams out of the East.
When Kellen and I had our like NBA playoffs preview before it started, we gave our teams to look out for. I said the Bucks because they were hitting their stride at the right time. And this team won the championship last year. They know how to do it again. And who's going to stop Giannis? Like, honestly, he's a walking triple-double. Like,
I can't argue that. Like, no one's been able to stop Giannis for 3 years.
No one would even think that Grayson Allen would be one of the top 3 scorers on that team right now. But if he goes off along with Drew Holiday, which he had 36 points, I think game 1 or game 2 of that series. I just think Milwaukee's the favorite right now, but I can see how you say out of these 2 teams, I would probably say the Heat is more geared to make the run than the 76ers are just because of inconsistency. And it's the 76ers. Even Kellen has said it before. They do this almost every year. They'll do really well, and then they just taper off.
If the 76ers face the Bucks, the 76ers will beat the Bucks. If they face the Celtics, Celtics beat the Sixers. If the Heat face the Celtics, Celtics beat the Heat. Heat face the Bucks. So I said, whoever wins this series, if they face the Bucks, they'll win. If they face the Celtics, they'll lose. I feel like the Celtics are the better matchup for both teams because Sixers can't stop Tatum and Brown and Smart. And then when you look at their matchup against the Heat, the one thing the Heat have over most teams is the insane depth they have. And the Celtics have equally dangerous depth, I'd say. So I think that the Celtics are a nightmare matchup for those 2 teams. But I think the Bucks will beat the Celtics. And I think one of these 2 teams will beat the Bucks. So, Alec, I'm agreeing with you. That was kind of a complicated way to say that, but I am.
Wait a second. Don't you know someone who's like a Phoenix Suns fan?
Yep.
follows us on Twitter, and every time we talk about the Suns, he's either commenting on the post in disagreement or rooting us on.
Yeah,
I don't
because
even know anymore.
we never freaking mentioned the Suns until like a month and a half into this damn podcast, and we tried to mention the Suns. Derek, I'm trying, man. We're trying. I love
The Suns should be up 3-1 right now.
They should.
That's all I'm gonna say.
No, keep going. Go into it as deep as you want. Why should the Suns be up 3-1, Brandon?
The game last night was like, I hate calling games against the refs, but like last night it was ridiculous. Devin Booker got called for a technical that I didn't understand how he got called for a technical, and it seems like they will call plays or call fouls for flopping, but like 80% of the guys last night were flopping that wasn't called, but it was called on the opposite guy. And then the whole fouling, like I've never seen Chris Paul foul out before ever in a playoff game or a game recently at all. So I don't know what was going on. I don't think the Mavericks should have won that game last night or the first game back in Dallas, because Phoenix Suns are very, very good. And I think their X factor will either be Jay Crowder or Mikal Bridges in the game tomorrow.
Jay Crowder will never be an X factor for anyone.
I'm saying just because of his defensive.
I think I think it'll be Mikal Bridges. I agree with you on that. I don't think Jay Crowder will be an X factor for any human beings team of just any variety ever in human existence. It was reffed horribly last night, but I think it was reffed moderately equally horrible for both teams. Like Luka complained a little bit to the refs, then he got teed up. Devin Booker breathed on the back of some guy's neck, and he got teed up. So I don't know. It was called horribly both ways, to the point where my friend, who's also a Suns fan and knows about the whole Scott Foster, Chris Paul thing, asked, could we please, dear Lord God, get Scott Foster? Because I think we'd have a better chance at winning this game. Also, Chris Paul had more fouls than points, and I thought that was pretty funny.
That is ridiculous. That's stat for you right there.
This is stat.
That's a hell of a stat right there.
It'll never happen again, though. He's way too good.
I'm not saying it's indicative of things to come. I'm just saying it happened.
No, it's absurd. I mean, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Is he regarded as the top point guard in
Of
NBA
all
history?
time? No.
I mean, you have to throw Magic in there, right?
Number 2, yes.
Number 2. Who's your number 1?
He's going to pick John Stockton.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, Stockton has so many freaking records still, doesn't he?
Yeah, he still has the assists and steals leader of all time.
Can't argue with
And
that.
he has those records by like thousands.
I can't argue with that then. Star power, Magic, but can't argue facts.
Yeah.
Those stats.
I just don't see another game where Chris Paul has less than 10 points in this series. It's just
Oh God, no.
will not happen.
Well, you better not, because they're not going to win. They won't.
And the same thing goes for Mikal Bridges. That's why I said Drake Crowder is an X factor. Like, he had a quiet 15 points last night. I mean, he kept him in the game.
15 they don't
points
need
is
him,
nothing
though.
to brag
like
about.
He had 15 points and they lost. That's I don't know. That's not like an X factor. I mean, that's more like you just said, Brandon. Oh, thank God he had 15 points. Or else the game.
Devin Booker had 35 and they lost.
Booker can also put up like freaking 60 and just dominate everybody.
That's true. That's true. But I think Keller and I talked about this too when they were down 2-0, the Mavericks. We were like, Luka needs help, because that is such a Luka run offense for Dallas. It's ridiculous. It's like what is it? The Purdue offense that we were talking about this past season. Just give the ball to Ivy and just let him do his thing. I mean, that's how Dallas is running their offense right now. Give it to Luka, and hopefully he draws a foul and one. That's it.
This Dallas team is, in what I'm saying, I'm not saying they're equal, but it's very similar to their team that beat the Heat. Was LeBron's first year when it was Dirk, and then they had Jason Terry. It was Jason Terry, wasn't it?
Jason Terry, Jason Kidd, Sean Marion, Tyson Chandler, deepest player of the year.
But Dirk was like the offense and whatever they got from Jason Terry. Like Jason Terry just had an insane finals series, and that's why they won. I feel like this is the same deal. I think Doncic is plenty good enough to be Dirk-esque in terms of performance, but I'm not seeing who's their Jason Terry. If they're gonna advance, and they really are that same kind of team, who on this team is
Brunson.
Jason Terry?
He's not Jason Terry. He's like every once in a while he might be an Eric Snow, but he's no Jason Terry.
And who would you pick out of this roster?
No one. That's the point.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like if they're running their game plan the same way they did back in whatever it was, 2010 or 9, or I can't remember what year it was.
11.
If we're saying they don't have a Jason Terry on the roster, then the Suns are winning this series and it's over.
I think they tried to get themselves their Tyson Chandler with just getting a big man who was really good, and Kristaps. That didn't work. Spencer Dinwiddie looked like he could be the Jason Terry for a little bit, but then he just fizzled out this series. It doesn't seem to be that secondary killer. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith stepped up the other day, but that's not going to be a consistent thing you're going to see.
I didn't know Luka shot this poorly last night.
He's not even that.
Like he shot 9 of 25, 1 of 10 from 3-point.
Yeah, he's not particularly a great 3-point shooter in general. I think most of it's that people fear his insane passing ability, so they overcommit on any pump fakes he does, and it just leads to open
which I
threes.
feel like that rule needs to change in the future, because that's almost too easy to draw a foul anytime you get them up in the air.
Yeah.
Or any contact that is forced by the offensive guy, that's got to be a call the other way.
Well, they've already implemented that rule. They're trying to call it more to where it's like if the contact is caused by the offensive player, then they'll call it a foul on the offensive player. But it's still a flawed rule. Like if someone will jump up and then the guy will jump in just a little bit and draw the foul, and they'll still call it.
I think it should just be nothing. If it's a charge, sure, but if an offensive player is initiating contact, like on a drive, and the defender is actively backing up, and they get contact, that pump fake, jump into them, like you guys said, you're the one doing it. You just made your shot harder. Congratulations.
Yep.
I also hate the stupid little James Harden like pull across the arms, which I think that's different because it's technically like if your arm's out here, like you're reaching in at that point, whatever. But man, that's just.
Well, yeah, that's what Joel does. Someone will put his hands on his chest, and he'll rip up through it like he's going for a shot, and then he'll just throw his arms around and they'll call that a foul, which I mean I'll take because I'm a Sixers fan, but it's also kind of cheeky and stupid.
So Game 5 is tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Are you guys taking Dallas or Phoenix? In the Phoenix.
I have to think Phoenix will win that game. I have to take them because I just said they would. Phoenix will win the game. I don't think Dallas will win another game.
Dallas. I said Phoenix was going to win the series in 5 games, but I'm feeling like, oh, Dallas is going to take one in Phoenix. Everyone's like, oh my God, is Dallas about to go and have a crazy comeback? And then they'll just blow it in Dallas. But I think they'll ride a little bit of a hot streak right now.
Okay, well, I'm taking Phoenix. I mean, it's in Phoenix. That fan base is insane, especially this whole thing with Chris Paul after last night. I mean, you're just adding fuel to the fire at that point.
It's going to be angry.
The dude shot 14 of 14 against New Orleans. He shot 100%. I mean, come on.
I can't even go do that in an open gym.
Oh, God. So moving on to tonight's games, we have Boston in Milwaukee. I have actually been to Fiserv Arena in Milwaukee. It's a beautiful arena. That place adores the Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo is going for a triple-double tonight. He's putting up 40 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, and the Bucks win tonight, go up 3-1.
I see no world where Giannis drops a 40-point triple-double against the Celtics, but I do think the Bucks win.
It's tricky that it's on the road. I'm going to say the Celtics win because I want to cheer for the Celtics. I want this series to be just an absolute bloodbath because this series, for what I said about 76ers and Heat, this series seems like the most throwback series, the toughest, nastiest kind of basketball, very physical brands, very physical players on each team. And I just enjoy watching that. So bring it on. Let's go Celtics.
Now, question for you, since you're picking the Celtics. If Celtics do go down 3-1, is that game, like, is that series? Like, do they win another one or is that it?
They would win. Well, because if they go down 3-1, it goes back to Boston, though, after that.
Yes.
Yeah, they would win that next game in Boston. That's why I think if they win this game, then you have yourselves a hell of a series on your hands.
And Kellen, you said there is no world where you would see Giannis drop 40 and get a triple-double. He almost did it Saturday at 42, 12, and 8.
Almost is not getting it. That's what Lee Corso used to say. And
Pretty damn
NCAA
close.
06.
God,
Close, like I said. I just
for dropping a 40, whatever, 12 and 8 game.
I just don't see him doing that 2 times in a row against an insanely good defensively Boston Celtics team.
That's the best person who could do it 2 times in a row, though, just with his skill set. Could you imagine if he was like shooting 45% from the 3-point line? Like, he'd be unguardable.
Dude, could you imagine if Joel Embiid shot 45% from the free throw line? I mean, unguardable. That could be said about almost anyone in the league, Brandon.
Would you pick
like the best player?
Joel over Giannis right now?
No.
Probably not. Joel's not healthy enough for me to shake him. So.
No.
Jesus.
I mean, I
All
think I think look, if it just depends on who you have around them. Like because Giannis needs the ball in his hand, I would say more than Joel does. So if you have a team of just shooters, then I think you go Giannis. But if you have a playmaker as your point guard and then a couple of shooters, then Joel fits the bill. And then I think it's tough to say because every single playoffs, Joel has not been able to get to the conference finals. Really, not because he didn't play well. It's because Ben Simmons was absolute trash, or Kawhi Leonard decided to hit the craziest shot in NBA history. So it's like, I mean, I relive that every single finals or every single playoffs because they always show that stupid freaking highlight. So it's like I want to say his game translates better to the playoffs. Even though Giannis has the finals, I think just the way Joel plays and how dominant he is in the post and how much pressure he takes off of everyone else, I think his game translates better.
Fair
I
enough.
think Giannis is more modern. I'll take Giannis. Joel's really like probably the most modern day NBA big man that there ever has been. There's plenty multiple to play in today's NBA, but I still think Giannis's ability to just get it, go, and everyone knows
it takes him 4 steps to get him from one end to the other.
And everybody knows he's going because he doesn't shoot the ball well. Puts up the numbers he does is one of the most astounding things in sports right now, I think. So who's a better basketball player? I think Embiid's a better basketball player, but Giannis is just, he's a freak. That's why they call him freak.
Does Joel ever get a ring?
Better be soon.
Honestly, I think James Harden signs a contract that is close to a max, but not a max. I think we keep a majority of our role players on the team, and I think we make a splash with some solid 3-and-D. Like, I don't know if he's a free agent next year, so I'm not going to say his name, but it'd be nice if we got Jay Crowder because I think he'd be perfect. And I think if we got a solid 3-and-D guy to come off the bench, the Sixers could win the NBA Finals next year.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. A lot of moves, a lot of big moves are happening this offseason. Ben Simmons probably not even going to be a net. I mean, just going to be honest. But
Probably
Moving
not
on to
even
the-
going to be on the local YMCA team.
Shanghai Sharks, here he comes.
So, Alec, once again, you were here for the playoff preview talk. I picked the Grizzlies to come out of the West.
You picked them to reach the finals.
I did.
My
I
goodness.
did. And they were looking pretty damn good until what happened on Saturday night.
When they were down by 20.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The video shows it all, Jordan.
They
Poole.
were down by 20.
Plead your case.
What advantage would he get from that? They were down by 20 and the Warriors were leading the
Okay.
series.
Then why grab his knee?
It's incidental contact.
Oh, that was incidental. I think just grab your kneecap. And
He's
bend
going
it
for the
outward.
ball.
Oh,
He's
yeah. The
playing
ball
defense.
was nowhere near it. Watch the
Playing
video.
defense. He's playing
He's not
defense.
playing defense.
Explain to the listeners what happened, Brandon.
Brandon's just a not smart human being. That's why.
So
That's why.
Ja
he
Morant
can't.
was double teamed by Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole. They kept reaching in. They actually called the foul on Wiggins, but there was a spot where Ja Morant pulled the ball from his right knee over to the left side, tucking it inside underneath his arm. And you can see Jordan Poole with his right hand grab his kneecap. Literally, you can see his arm tense up and then quick jerk of it in a very odd situation.
There was
For basketball,
absolutely
you get your
no
leg jerked
tensing.
like that.
No tensing at all.
Are you kidding me right now?
Alec, Alec, it
I'm
was
about to-
the equivalent of this.
I saw the play. I saw the play.
It was that. It was like the equivalent of that.
No, it was not. You are
I think
holy
in slow-mo it might look a little bit like that. I thought it was kind of Bush League. You know who it is. You know who has the ball. I mean, come on. In the heat of the moment, you're not gonna pull just a little bit.
All
I'm
I'm
not
saying-
saying it decided the game. I'm just saying
I think
thought it was a sketchy
I
play,
think
too.
this is a conspiracy that's going all the way up into the Grizzlies organization where they're pulling Ja out for a game to make it seem even worse than it actually is. He's fine. He's being a baby.
He's not completely out. He's still day to day.
He's not supposed to play. He's not playing tonight though.
It was
Yeah, I didn't think he was
unlikely he
playing
was
either.
going to, but he's day to day right now.
He's fine, is what he is. He's being a little baby.
Anyway, you don't pull a knee like that when
He's
you're nowhere
being
near
a
the
child.
ball.
He's being a
But
child.
anyways,
He's
this
being a
series
child.
has been
You're an NBA
fantastic to watch.
basketball player. If someone touches your knee, you should be fine.
Well, they didn't just touch
He'll-
it, he grabbed it. But anyways,
He will contact dunk over a 7'2" center, but he's gonna complain about this.
it wasn't that. So you can keep over exaggerating there, Kellen. All I'm saying is this series has been fantastic to watch. Just
All
from
I'm saying
game
is
one
you're
on.
not smart. You don't know. You're no doctor. I'm a doctor. I have a PhD in thugonomics.
In thugonomics.
The school of John
Oh.
Cena University, man.
Ja Morant is the most athletic player in the NBA.
No,
Who
What are you talking about, dude?
Who?
Giannis. Seven
Actually,
feet tall.
time out. I can agree with that actually, because Giannis is a freak soccer player too. John Morant can't throw a baseball.
Yeah, but
Ja
look at
Morant
what
outside
Ja
of that-
Morant is doing, man. Like when he's
Look at what
midway up in
Giannis
the
is
air,
doing.
contorting his body.
Look at Giannis.
He-
He's 7 feet tall.
John Morant is
Ja Morant can dunk on Giannis with ease.
Not with ease. If Giannis is actually contending, I don't think that's with ease.
Oh, he'd still yam on him.
Struggled to yam on Kevin Love.
Dude, he like jumped from the free throw line to make that dunk.
Didn't
Or to
dunk it though.
almost make that dunk. Oh,
Didn't dunk it, though.
stop it.
Kevin Love stood strong.
Exactly. My boy Kevin Love.
I've never seen a player like that recently just play that well in a playoff in his first year in the playoffs with playing with that much confidence. He's super athletic. He can hit big time shots. He's not just Kellen. You even said it yourself. He can't just drive all the time. He can actually pull up and pop from three anytime he wants to. So he's pretty much unguardable right now.
He's a guy that makes casual NBA fans like myself turn on TV. Because he has the highlights, he has all the crazy stuff that you don't normally see. It's Morant, Steph Curry, and Giannis right now are the three players that make the Celtics play great basketball, the Heat play great basketball, The Sixers play great basketball. But when you don't have a horse in the race, I want to see something just absolutely stupid. And Doncic, too, because of his clutchness in games the last couple of years. I want to see something stupid happen. Just something that makes me get out of my seat and go, oh, my God. And Morant definitely qualifies as that.
Like, yes, they were down by 20, but I think he still put up 34 points. I mean,
Oh, that's even more of a case to show that his scoring 34 points doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When you're going
Desmond Bane, though,
State,
Desmond Bane is that second option for him right now.
that's sad.
But Desmond Bane can shoot lights out. Like,
That's
he's
sad,
not
but that's he
someone
shouldn't be
that
as
you should just
he's
slouch
not a
on.
number 2 though. He's like a number 3.
Who's the number 2?
I'm saying he should be.
If they were a good team, he'd be like their 3 or 4. Is what
He'd be like a Tobias
Now
Harris.
I understand what you mean.
At his peak, he's Tobias Harris. That's
I mean, I wish
I like
Jaren
Tobias.
Jackson was more consistent because he's a phenomenal player in the paint.
He's all right. He's a bit weak.
Dude, he came in the league when he was like before 18. I mean,
I don't care
he's
when
fantastic.
he came in the league. You can still be weak. You can still be a big man and be weak.
well, anyways,
Bam Adebayo's weak.
Brandon has left the
I
building.
mean, he got bodied all night last night.
anyways, Warriors Grizzlies tonight. I'm going to probably say the Warriors just because of the unlikeliness of John Morant not playing.
Yep, Warriors taking this one.
Yeah.
So that would be 3-1 Warriors. And it sucks because that means they'll be going back to Golden State for Game 5.
Yeah,
And it's
well, it
over.
doesn't matter where they were going. I mean, Golden State's going to win.
So if Golden State wins, and let's say Phoenix wins, who you give them out of that
Golden State.
series right there?
Golden State.
Oh, man. I think you got to say Golden State, right? I hate that I'm saying that, but, man. What is they're almost the same damn team, except they both do so many things similarly. And then I
think Golden State beats them in pure shooting aspect in that series.
Yeah, I
Pure
mean,
shooting, and I think they're just they're really both like just great teams, just with the way they all carry themselves. But I feel like the winning DNA is more in Golden State's favor than it is in Phoenix's favor. Like, I know Chris Paul made the finals last year, but his record in the playoffs is not great. And Golden State's is. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, that combo has been deadly for years.
yeah, and if you get Poole playing well like he has been, I mean that.
I mean, hell, Andrew Wiggins could have just one good game, and that'd be enough to seal a series.
Is Iguodala? Is he completely
Iguodala.
out? I'm sorry. Is he just completely out?
I saw him play earlier this series, I thought.
How old is he now?
Old.
He's
38.
On your Vince Carter age right now.
Yeah, he's got to be so old.
Because when he was with them when they were winning championships, that was he was their defensive guy. I mean, that was like your Tony Allen type of player.
Don't compare Andre Iguodala to Tony Allen. So
Well,
38
he was
years old.
Born in those playoffs too.
Andre is 38 years old.
Gee whiz.
I see. At least Andre has offense. Tony Allen couldn't shoot to save his life.
Wait, pop-up quiz. Where'd he go to college?
Arizona.
Good job.
Hey, I know my Philadelphia players. That's a Philadelphia legend right there.
Was he there in like I'm not doing math in my head. I'm just trying to remember. Was that like late 90s, early 2000s?
It'd be early 2000s.
They had some damn good teams. Some damn good teams at Arizona.
You know who else went to Arizona?
Don't say it.
Ayton?
TJ McConnell.
My boy.
Oh God, TJ McConnell. So
My
that
white
kind of wraps
wonder.
up our our basketball talk. And by the way, while we were doing this doing the start of the episode, Monty Williams won Coach of the Year.
Oh, okay.
So congrats to him back to back.
Jokic, unrightfully so, won the MVP. So,
I mean, do we agree with that? I mean, Alex shaking his head. I don't know, just because
there was going to be people pissed at whatever way it went. I don't envy the people having to pick it this year.
I'm just saying the Sixers higher seed. Embiid came in like the 30th game after having been out for like 2 weeks with COVID. And the team completely shifted. Only had James Harden for what was it, like 13 games? I don't know exactly how many it was before the season ended. Higher seed. Embiid had 30 points per game this season, first time since Moses Malone in 1982-83. Moses Malone won MVP that year, and he was an NBA champion for the Philadelphia 76ers. So,
Kellen, I think since we do have Alec here, we just need to get his input. So we have to kind of divert to the NFL. Alec, we need to know who your winners and losers were of the NFL draft. Top three,
Ravens,
bottom three.
Baltimore Ravens. we were texting weren't we texting this during the draft? Why do the Ravens make the draft look so easy while the rest of us make it look so hard? Like we're gonna get Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame. We have a safety on our roster, but this dude was a projected top 5 pick by some people. By far and away the best safety in college football this year. One of the best ones to come out in a long time. Look, Tyler Linderbaum fell all the way to pick number 25th or something. Oh, let's just grab the greatest center in a generation in college football because everyone else thinks his arms are too short. You know what? His arms were too short when he was playing high school and Big Ten bully ball also. And he was pretty freaking good. I just don't like those 2 picks for them are just automatic multi-year Pro Bowlers. So to me, just getting that kind of guarantee and that amount of equity in your first round, I would say they won. I know there's trendier like depth draft picks out there, but Ravens won to me. I thought that was brilliant. Losers.
Go ahead, say it. I know you want to say it.
Well, I just don't understand what the Packers are doing. That's my biggest thing.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I didn't understand their draft one bit. I don't know what their deal is with not wanting to grab receivers or anything. The Bears draft sucked.
Well, that's to be expected.
But that's what I'm saying. Do they even count? I'm going to go Packers. And I forgot to mention that the Giants also actually look competent in what they're doing now, which is kind of scary. They do. The moves made sense. They looked like they had some competency in this year's draft.
Just saying. I said this on our draft recap. They could have had Ikem Ekonwu at 6 or 5. Let the Panthers take Evan Neal, and then you still would have had Kayvon at 7.
But they got who they wanted.
That's true. I'm just saying. I'm
not arguing.
Ikem is going to go down as the better offensive line.
And that may be. I think though the fact that they weren't messing around with it. I think they're just straightforward. This is who we want. We're gonna get them. We have a plan.
Well, the Jets.
But
the Jets did have probably one of the best drafts they've had in years.
Yes, but it's just like until we see these guys go into New York and perform, I understand. Everyone's saying the Jets had a great draft, but everyone goes there to die, man. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like they've had hits. They just don't line up at the same time.
Who are the hits?
Jamal Adams.
Chad Pennington?
You know it. Don't talk about my boy, Chad Pennington. Man was a top 5 MVP caliber player in 2008 with the Dolphins. Not with the Jets anymore at that point. But still, we don't talk bad about Chad Pennington on here, Alec. Now, the Sanchez, that's a god right there. Hey, he beat Tom Brady in the playoffs. How many people can say that?
How many people can also say they had a butt fumble?
Only one. He will go down forever because of that.
The ass bash.
But hey, I gave Kellen so much props for his organization, the Philadelphia Eagles, having a huge draft night, bringing in A.J. Brown from the Titans, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. I mean, Nakobe Dean fell to them in the second round. Are you kidding me? That's insane.
It's the injury, though. His reluctancy to get surgery on the injury that he had. But I'm still happy because he could be the next Takeo Spikes, and that's really all I want him to be.
He's going to be so good, dude.
I'm just not – we could have had Kyle Hamilton, and we took Jordan Davis, and I'm not too happy about that.
We'll see. I think – so what I was reading, because I was interested to see this, and it kind of played out with all the receiver movement is, okay, where do top of the line, like 5th year in the league receivers actually stand in terms of like, what is their equity to an organization? Because you're going to have to pay them a shit ton of money. Like these like top 10 receivers in the league, you're going to have to pay them a shit ton of money. Do you trade them for draft prospects, kind of like we're seeing now, knowing you can grab a good college receiver, not have to pay him near as much? And is the productivity actually that different? That's like the new thing people are looking at coming in, like a kid out of college who still could possibly get you 1,000 yards in the top 2 rounds of the draft or a little under and be paid countless millions less that you could go spend elsewhere on free agents. Is that more equitable to a team than guaranteed like 1,100-yard receiver, 8 touchdowns? What's better? What do you guys think? I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards the college guy, kind of.
From what we've seen over the past couple of years in terms of first-round wide receiver talent, just Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, I mean, those are like early first-rounders, but still, I mean, you got it. It's definitely hard to not think that's a viable option, but that's 2 wide receivers in the past 4 years. You could have them, or you could have Jalen Reagor. There's big highs and there's very low lows. And right now, I'm just thinking in terms of specifically the Titans. You have A.J. Brown, a guy who you know can perform with you, who works in your system well. If you decide to move on from Tannehill, you're still giving Malik Willis a guaranteed certified security blanket of a wide receiver. Or you have Traylon Burks, who is very good, unproven, and could fizzle out and just not be the guy that you think he's going to be in the pros. But you save a lot of money that you can spend elsewhere. But in the Titans' case, what do you spend that on? That can make your team so much better that you're still contending.
I guess to me, it just dictates on how much cap space the team is willing to forego for a veteran type receiver who can still put up decent productivity. I mean, Kellen, just like you said, besides Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, what other wide receivers in their first year kind of blew up in the past 3-4 years?
I'm not saying they have to blow up. I'm just saying like be top 3rd in the league. Like in terms of what, be good enough that it would
be a Chris Godwin.
Did the trade.
Is that what you're saying? Like a Chris Godwin level?
Be good enough.
Allen Robinson.
But how much does it depend on the quarterback that's with that organization before you draft or trade?
It depends a shit ton. I mean, that would be everything about this.
I look at the Commanders.
And how surprised were you guys to see Malik Willis drop as far as he did, especially to go to the Titans?
I'm not surprised. I think it's better for him that he did drop. I think he could be good. I think it would have been disastrous if he went in the first round in terms of his professional potential. I mean,
Do you think? Go ahead. Go ahead.
he played a college style offense at Liberty. My uncle is the dean of the business school at Liberty. He likes Malik Willis, says he's a good kid from what he knows, but he still played against Liberty's competition. We saw him during a COVID year when he was where he blew up, and then last year. I mean, we really don't know what he. I mean, Baker Mayfield played for Oklahoma, played a lot tougher teams, and look where he is now. You know, I'm just trying to think of comps for Malik Willis, and then every comp I can think of played just way better competition. So
I'm not sure that I'm on this insane hate train that everyone else is on Baker Mayfield. Like, I don't think he's like in limbo. If your team was looking to upgrade a quarterback because you think you can win a Super Bowl with a better quarterback, he's not the guy you go for. But if your team sucks and you're looking to tank for another two years, he's not the guy you go for because he's going to win you some games. He's just kind of floating there.
but that's my point though. It's better for Malik Willis that he fell the second round then, because I don't see him being any better. I don't see him being better than Baker Mayfield.
I think he will.
You think he will be?
I think he will.
In Tennessee.
This could be just because he's wearing a Tennessee uniform, but we could be looking at Warren Moon light.
Oh, that'd be sick. That'd be sick.
Like, he's not gonna be. I don't think, because I think Warren Moon is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in NFL history, and his cannon of an arm was just insane. He won't be as good as him, but I think he could be moderately resembling Warren Moon.
Smaller Steve McNair.
I was gonna say Steve McNair, but I feel like Steve McNair was just a freaking hoss.
Yeah. Giant.
I'm not gonna say this just because it hits home to me, but probably one of the coolest moments of the draft was Kenny Pickett being drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Why are so many people hating on that?
Neil McDonald 2.0.
Because there was so much hype with Tomlin and Malik Willis's relationship that they thought that was going to be the pick 100%.
I think Pickett's just the way better pick for the organization, though. I mean, you got the hype of him already having been there, and he knows the facilities.
But he also has small hands, apparently, that everyone's
little baby hands.
About.
Which it does. The one thing, it's such a divisive topic with the hands. The one thing I will say about the hands is an NFL ball is a little bit bigger, but if the dude is throwing an NFL ball and you can see that he throws an NFL ball fine, I mean, what did he not show last year or the year before?
I mean, the dude can run and throw. I mean, I don't know what else you want a quarterback to do.
He can be like super, super pro style. And it's not like he's running around in design runs either. It's running. I hate to do this, but it's Big Ben-esque type of run. That's what he's creating. Plays.
Is he a day one starter over Trubisky?
I sure as hell would make him a day. Are you kidding? Mitch Trubisky? I wouldn't put him on the field ever again. You don't want the Bears tainting your organization?
Dude, I'm already upset that we even have Trubisky, okay? We're already looking at trading Mason Rudolph, which is fantastic.
What is this hate train on Trubisky? The man took Matt Nagy to 2 playoff games.
Did he take him, or was it the Bears defense at the time?
It was the Bears defense.
He was good enough to take him to 2 playoff games.
If he was any good, they would have won playoff games.
Just saying. Kenny Pickett, Tommy Maddox. Same player.
Is this because he's going to the Steelers? Is this because you just can't?
No, I like the Steelers. I'm just saying I don't trust Kenny Pickett as the quarterback of the future. I don't know why we have to every year. It's like, oh, this guy's going to be the next great thing. No, they almost never are.
What is the difference between him and Justin Herbert? I think their college careers were insanely similar, and I think Pickett actually might have been better because he was on a lesser team.
I trust Kyle Hamilton. Oh, not God, Jesus Christ, Justin Herbert's leadership, leadership, poise, and arm strength more than I trust Kenny Pickett's.
I think the leadership and poise are. I'd choose Pickett. He went to Pitt. He brought Pitt to a quote unquote BCS bowl. Pitt was great.
Well, yeah, in the 1 year Clemson played the worst football they've played in 6 years.
Dude, Pitt beat plenty of good teams last year. The ACC.
Ooh, Wake Forest.
We talked about it on here. Yes, Clemson was not as good as they've been, but the ACC as a whole was up. They were average. I would say the average water level in the conference was better. NC State was better. North Carolina fell down, but Wake Forest came up. I think it was a better conference than we shat on it about.
There's like I think there were only like 3 good teams.
3 good teams?
Yeah.
But Pitt, Clemson, and Wake are right there.
I'm not even counting Wake. I'm counting NC State. Not Wake Forest was a fluke.
But they were a good team.
Fluke.
Anyways, Jesus, this kid, I'm telling you, man, is gonna make me have a freaking brain aneurysm.
I'm just telling you how it is.
Okay, I didn't know the Steelers signed wide receivers, and I love the George Pickens pickup. By the way, have you seen the height of all the receivers besides Deontay Johnson right now?
But dude, my problem with the Pickens pick is, well, you need to get rid of Claypool then.
Okay, well, we have a 6'3" Claypool, a 6'2" Pickens, a 6'4" Miles Boykin, Deontay Johnson, and this Gunnar Olazinski, who's a great punt and kick returner.
That sounds like a lot of the same damn thing to me. It doesn't sound. Who's your Tyreek Hill-esque?
Deontay Johnson. Just because of height and speed, he's the fastest one on the wide receiver.
Fastest one out of that does not equate to Tyreek Hill-esque player.
That's the Tyreek Hill he's asking for. Who's that type of player?
No, but you can ask that question and not have an answer.
I have an answer.
It's not Deontay Johnson. You just don't have one on your team.
I don't think it's a multiple enough I'm not arguing you, Brandon. Your wide receiver room is a bunch of really big freaking dudes who one-on-one throw them a jump ball and they can probably come down with it. But in terms of being a multiple offense, I don't see enough versatility in there. I think
Freiermuth.
No, Freiermuth is a beast. He's a beast. And that's what I'm saying. Think if you would get rid of Claypool and bring in someone more shifty slot.
Jalen Rager.
Jarvis Landry, since he's going to be out of Cleveland.
He's not even on Cleveland. He's a free agent. Just sign him.
He's still on Cleveland.
If you guys get a really shifty little dude in that offense, it's going to be a damn good offense. And it's going to be everything that you can just hand the reins to Pickett, in my mind, to go loop back around. He should be the day one starter.
I forgot. I have to mention this. I have to. On the Eagles practice squad, they have a new tight end. 6'9", 240 pounds, John Hara at a Penn State University.
Let it be known he became a legend in the sports world on this podcast. No one gave a shit until Iowa played him in basketball, and I went on a rant about John Hara. And then everyone else seemed to pick up on it.
Door closed on Jarvis Landry returning to the Browns.
Go get him.
Go back to the Dolphins.
Hey, I just want to point out, because we know someone who's very close to the podcast and to us, the Indianapolis Colts had a pretty damn good draft as well, by the way. Alec Pierce and Jelani Woods giving Matt Ryan some weapons. Are you kidding me?
They need to make it happen this year.
How good are those weapons? They're all right weapons.
They need to make it. They're going to be able to run the football.
You got Jarvis Landry still out there. You got Julio Jones still out there. If we don't hear that you're at least attempting to get those guys, then they're not trying to win.
Dude, Alec Pierce isn't really that bad, at all. He's a big dude.
But he's a rookie. How consistently good is that rookie going to be year one for Matt Ryan? Kyle Pitts wasn't even consistently great that first year for Matt Ryan.
Alec, any thoughts on what he's getting at?
I know I can't disagree with what he's getting at. I just talked about how the Steelers need more versatility in the offense, and the Colts know they need that. It's just going to be
What?
is Matt Ryan going to be able to turn an Alec Pierce type and some others into better players, which I think he can. Your Pitts argument is a very good one. Pitts was a freak.
Hey,
The Colts defense is going to be scary after bringing in Stephon Gilmore.
It's gonna be good. But you know who still is willing to play some football right now? Terrell Owens and Shadow Josenko.
Isn't Terrell Owens playing in like some weird?
He's playing in that
fan-controlled football.
that fan control football with Johnny Manziel.
Oh God, that is just.
Hey, he's playing football though, and I guarantee he could be better than half the wide receivers out there in the NFL right now.
Well, boys, just know we are 110 days away from college football. That's it.
Yes, we are.
Thank God.
And you want us
110 days away.
You want to hear us? You want to hear a great stat, Alec? You know how much we love to poop on Nebraska.
Yes.
I'm about to list every single school that has more wins than Nebraska over the last 10 years. Are you ready?
Yes.
Utah State, Air Force, San Diego State, Nevada, Boise State, Arkansas State, the Ragin' Cajuns, Troy, Appalachian State, Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee State, Western Kentucky, Marshall, Navy, Memphis, Houston, UCF, Cincinnati, Toledo, Ohio, NIU, Army, BYU, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, South Carolina, Missouri, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU, Georgia, Florida, Auburn, Alabama, Washington State, Washington, Utah, South Carolina, USC, UCLA, Stanford, Oregon, Arizona State, Virginia Tech, Pitt, North Carolina State, North Carolina, Miami, Louisville, Florida State, Clemson, Wisconsin, Penn State, Northwestern, Minnesota, Iowa, Fresno State, Ohio State, Michigan,
How many more
Michigan
teams do
State,
you have on that
Western
list?
Virginia, TCU,
He's just listing
Kansas
all of them.
State, Baylor University, Oklahoma State, Texas, and OU.
Thank you, Kellen. That made my heart very
Thank
happy.
you. It was great.
The best part is they're destined for another last place finish because they're picked to win the West. Again.
Why?
Because the media does this every damn year.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. They're favored by what, 4-6 over Northwestern week 1?
It's so they're not going to win that game. There's no way in hell they're beating Pat Fitzgerald. You're telling me they're going to go beat a super disciplined Northwestern team who is counted out right from the start and
Like
facing
always.
an undisciplined Nebraska team. Add in they have to fly across the freaking ocean. Do you think Nebraska can handle that? They can't even handle walking across the street. They're done. I think. Here's conspiracy. I think the media just loves putting them at the top just because it's hilarious when they fall all the way to the bottom. It's good for the sport.
Absolutely.
Great.
There have been some, we'll get more into college football in the coming weeks, but there's been talks of Lincoln Riley kind of tampering with some top transfer targets as
Everyone
far as Jordan
tampers,
Addison.
Brandon. Everyone
It's
tampers.
a mess. It's an absolute mess. It's a complete farce on the NCAA for not looking at this 10 years ago when Kane Coulter tried to unionize college football from Northwestern. And then the NCAA just did nothing and said, oh, this will never happen. And we continue to say this will never happen. Players should get paid in some sense of the word, but there is no regulation. People are running around. Texas is paying offensive linemen $150,000 a year for every year you start. Kids going to Tennessee for $2 million. We got a kid going, a legacy from Iowa going to Oregon because he got a huge deal from Nike. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. It was all avoidable. And now if your school isn't setting up any kind of fund, you're absolutely effed. And I think we're going to see a bunch of coaches retire. I think Coach Ferentz will retire after the year. That's my prediction because it's ludicrous. So now you have conference commissioners going to Congress trying to get some form of government regulation on this. It's stupid. We'll go into it more next time. I'd love to, but man, it is horrible.
Kellen, do you have anything else? Because I got nothing else because that was pretty much the gist for tonight. I was just happy to have all of us back. We're all back. And listen, the weather is beautiful this whole
Yeah.
week. I'm so excited.
It's gonna be 90
Okay.
degrees on Wednesday.
It's gonna be fantastic.
Senior
I
skate
might
day.
hit up a golf course on Wednesday, so it's all right.
I don't have much to add except for the
Oh
fact
wait, wait a second. I do have something to add. Hold on, Alec. I got to get your input on this. Did you see what Sergio Garcia said during the tournament?
No, hell yeah. I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait to leave. Okay. Okay, man. Okay. Yeah. I was going across the creek and you're starting. Yeah. No. Screw you. Can't wait to get out of here. Yeah.
Sorry, Kellen. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Penn State will win 7 games this year.
It's what I think I was going to do too. So it might be a miserable year, but that'll be okay. Be okay. It happens.
We shouldn't win 7 games, but we will.
I'm
Also,
not even going to give a prediction.
Michigan won't be in the
the.
top 20. Yeah, because if you're high as hell, anyone is high as hell if they think they're coming out of Ohio State with a win, and they're going to beat Clemson and USC. Hell no. You lose all 3 of those games.
Chirp, chirp. Go Hawks.
Hawks,
I've got
baby.
nothing else, fellas.
Chad Pennington, I love you.